Roces, Nils and Kiwie have put out a new Peace M12 skate, but is it just the live, laugh and love of rollerblading? Big box store Decathlon have their own Agg Skate come in, but is it actually good for rollerblading? Let's get into it. All the stunts are performed by professionals. Don't attempt this yourself. I don't know what goes through their minds at Roces sometimes. For a while Martina seemed to get the blame, her rap sheet was absolutely ridiculous, and then you've got Ilya who's a complete liability. They got rid of Martina, the money they saved went to skaters, specifically into projects like Soul. They improved the skates, it felt like there was more cohesion and everything was moving in a good direction. I recently did a vid backing them up for still using the M12 after all these years, and now they've gone back to being like silly billies again. They teased up this new skate and you thought they've got a hold of Martina's scrapbook of ideas, haven't they? And they've gone mad with it. A few people joked and said they were copying them again with the Jet Set skate. It ended up looking nothing like that, and instead this, the Nils Peace skate. Pretty sure I saw a pair of those in Fat Willie's Surf Shack back in the day. Old Thick Richard looks like the inspo for these ones. To me, they actually look quite cheap in the like non-studio pics, which is wild considering like this is their most expensive skate at €450. And it's not a skate, people. That price isn't very peaceful. Hateful even. And then it's the usual kind of mix of comments where some people really like it, people complaining about make a wider boot, some people think it's a little bit guff. And then you've also got comments in there like, make a peace skate and don't donate any charity is kind of weird. No, probably equally as weird is that Nils is actually like that comment. Don't know what he's trying to do there, maybe he's just trying to play it off, no idea. But anyway, yeah, I think that's totally fair to like call that out and make that point that Nils and Roces are peddling a skate off of peace, but not actually supporting any causes or taking any genuine action, which I think is pretty off, especially considering the current climate, man. Like, you've only got to look at the news for like 10 seconds to realise that, and they're giving it the big one at the in the caption as well. So like, peace lives in the small daily actions, in our thoughts, our friendships, our skating. And probably in the money that's going to land in their back pockets. €450 for a skate, man. That's fairly wild. It's the creative freedom to do what we love and to share that energy with others. Skating has shown me that we're all more alike than different, and that's where real power lies. The new skate, designed in collaboration with legendary Latvian street artist Kiwie, carries our shared wish for society, a message we both continue to express through our work. Yeah, by putting massive peace signs on roads, sticking peace on skates, and then not donating anything to, I don't know, peace building orgs or even local charities. Like, Nils is a great guy, like great role model, keeps himself fit and healthy, presents himself as someone who cares about the planet, you know, like socially conscious, like all up for peace. And I believe that is completely genuine, and probably he's had good intentions with this. Like, he collaborated with local Latvian artist Kiwie on this, which is cool. He's all up for peace as well. I'm all up for collabs. I think it's good for rollerblading. They previously done the one of one skate and then painted a massive peace sign, which was the biggest peace sign in Latvia. So there is a consistent message. But then pushing a skate off that basis, pushing the skate off of peace and like everything you've created there, but it not being aligned with like some organisation for peace or a charity, just makes the whole thing like a little bit snide and a little bit hollow. Right, I really want to push this idea of peace, you know, spread it wide and far, be like pretty inclusive with it. How about a limited run, an exclusive skate that says peace on it for 300 people? Oh, okay, so limited run, which means less people are going to see the message, but exclusive, so what, we'll charge more and that means we can give more to charity? No, we can give more to ourselves and you can have some more vegan lasagna. Now, Nils is definitely not going to be the first person that's ever slapped peace on something and it's not ended up being like for a charitable cause or anything like that. One of my members pointed out that, or gave the example of like Camden Market. There's plenty of t-shirts there that have like peace written all over them, but that's never going to like any charitable organisation or anything like that, and no one complains, which I agree is almost definitely true. But when it happens in a small community you're actively part of, it's worth pointing out that it's a little bit odd and that like we can do more. You're more likely to have some sort of impact when you mention it in a smaller community. Maybe a few people change their perspective, maybe even Nils and Roces like end up going, oh, do you know what, maybe we could do a little something, a little bit of a donation here and there.
That chance.
I don't know, it's just like you're going to have more influence in your little sphere than going after bigger things. I mean, ironically, those t-shirts at Camden are going to be seen by more people and probably do a better job of spreading the idea of peace. People are also like, so what, he's put peace on there, what's the problem? It's pretty generic, everyone wants peace. And I agree, everyone does want peace, but that just makes the whole design even more toothless. Like, it's their most expensive skate available at the moment, and zero is going to any kind of charity. You may as well have just written a list of things on the cuff. Save the planet, save the whales, let's try and be more carbon neutral, make sure you turn the light off when you leave the room last, put the seat down after you've finished with the toilet, make sure you flush, not to be sold separately, part of a multi-pack, left and right. Putting a word or a slogan on a skate is about as low level as it possibly gets, and it just feels like fairly hollow, you know. It's in pretty poor taste to use a good cause for your own profit when you could easily make like a token gesture. Crate Originals did it with a frame for the Ukraine and donated money. Powerslide did it with their next No War skate where, what was it? They were going to donate 100% of sales to non-profit charity organisations directly involved in helping people of the Ukraine. They even said, I'm sure they even said, if you know of any other charity organisations helping the victims of war in Ukraine, or you're involved in a non-profit project, please send us a message, we might be able to help. Something like that. When Jenna Downing got a Pro LS skate from Roces, she decided to donate 100% of the profit she would make from this to breast cancer care. Now, there is absolutely no obligation for Nils to make any kind of donation, but I think it's totally fair to point out that it is a little bit odd, and I think any kind of gesture, no matter how small, is going to be more impactful than writing peace on 300 skates. At the moment, it feels like throwing a sausage down the hallway. Zero impact. I also think it's a little odd that when I posted a story I was making this video, he replied with the cry laughing emoji, and then when I asked him if anything would be donated to charity, he's just not replied. I hope I'm proved wrong and it turns out the reason why the skates are so expensive is because a little bit is going to charity. Oh, and this definitely isn't cancel Nils, cancel Roces or anything like that. It's just a bit odd, and I think they can do more. And I'll wrap it up with this from the original commenter, who's probably said it better than I have this whole video. I'm the guy who made the first comment. I think it's important for our community to stand together around shared values like peace and anti-racism. When brands make peace collaborations during dark times but don't actually support any real causes or donate to charity, it feels empty. If you want to promote peace, it has to come with genuine action, not just marketing. Right, so Decathlon have a new aggressive skate on the way. Uncle Ollie was the first to break the news on this one. 130 quid, really good price point, seems like decent quality, so people aren't going to rage quit and never come back, hopefully. Visually, they look pretty inoffensive, bar the frame, wheelbase longer than a Monday morning. Because Decathlon are a big box store, a lot of people are jumping onto this as nothing but positive for ag skating. A hero can save us. I'm not gonna stand here away. I think there's pros, I definitely agree with that, but I also think there's cons to it. By my calculations, the Decathlon skate would become the 25th aggressive skate available currently, which is far too many options in an industry so small, but there's a whole nother video in that. The brands that already exist are on a scale of cornice and how much they care about the industry, and I think it's fairly obvious which brands are out there trying and which brands are doing more than just selling you skates. So what do they offer that other brands don't like? Obvious one, way more visibility. They have like 1,700 stores in like over 70 countries worldwide, like plus a really strong distribution network, and they're just in places core brands aren't and can't get to. They have a gigantic reach. They're comparable to when you get sand in your sandwiches before you actually even touch the beach. They're just everywhere. There's all sorts in the store as well, so it's not like it's just going to be people who are actually actively looking for skates. People going in there for like, I don't know, a table tennis net or some swimming goggles or something like that, and end up seeing the skates and be like, quite fancy getting into that actually. Obviously in a physical store you can try the things on, which is absolutely massive. Good price, a good entry point for people who would otherwise never really be reached by our core skate brands. They get involved, they love it. That's their gateway into the core world.
One of us, one of us, one of us.
Now Decathlon have already been selling skates for 20 plus years. They've had the Anarchies in there, which I mean weren't really involved with the industry so much, but slightly different now with Echo. You had Roces in there, you had FR, Sways you used to be able to get from them, I'm pretty sure. So that was like a little bit of money that was coming the industry's way, but in those 20 years, as far as I'm aware, and I've been told, like, they've never sponsored a single blade event, like, ever. Unlike the likes of Loco Skates or Intuition or Grindhouse, which are much, much smaller stores who, you know, regularly support events, they have riders, etc. And then just brands in general who actually care and try and nurture the industry. Again, riders, events, also like tours, videos, the kind of stuff that keeps the industry feeling alive and adds to the culture. Topically, they do sponsor that kid who just attempted a 360 flip at El Toro, but that's skateboarding and I believe it's pretty limited. Making their own brand skate, they're cutting out the brands and going straight to the factories to increase their margins, which is, you know, smart business for them. They're also massive, so they can order loads and, you know, keep the quality quite high, the price decent. And there's also an option of them, like, you know, in sales, reducing it a lot more because they're getting it for cost rather than trade. From a business sense, I imagine they're going to push and promote their brand a lot harder, maybe even remove those other brands. So those little bits that used to drip down into an already weakened industry, they start to disappear. That piece of the pie starts to get smaller and smaller. Without facts and figures, it's a lot of guesswork, but in an industry so small, it all counts. We don't know how many people Decathlon have put on a path to the industry. Like, absolutely there will be some in there, but equally there'll be people who bought their first Agg Skate and quit. Obviously you want people with big customer lifetime value, but because Agg Skating is so small, it benefits a lot from those people who buy just one pair of skates and then quit, even though that sounds mad. Brands were getting a little slice of that if they were in Decathlon. If the right brands were being sold in there, they were getting a little tiny bit of that money, but potentially now that's not even going to happen. The assumption is, and I would tend to agree with this, that it doesn't bite into existing customers who are already involved in rollerblading. Like, the target audience is new, or maybe even like people returning to it who are just out of touch, or I just haven't worked out how to get skates anymore. But there's people in there who do skate who are like interested in them, and I've seen a few comments like this, like, and that is just absolutely wild. I agree there's positive, but like I said before, there is negatives. I don't think it's massively on one side or the other, but anything into the negative has a bigger impact, if that makes sense. Like, it stops brands creating all the things that keep the culture going. If you start to lose that, you start to lose the ability to keep those that are new, because, you know, maybe you lose one less local competition, there's one less video, like all the things that people enjoy about the culture start to disappear slightly. Like, thing is, we can't do anything about Decathlon's decision to make a skate. What we can do is focus on supporting the brands, organisation and people that do the most for the culture, you know, like the videos, supporting skaters, creating events, etc, and focus on developing a culture and community that people want to be a part of beyond just skating and just owning a pair of skates. Like, if we focus on our side of things and then just hope that Decathlon don't pull our pants down. Massive thank you to all my patrons and channel members for supporting me, helping me do this. Couldn't do it without you. Here's some more vids you can watch in the meantime. See you later. Spotty dog.